Hello, my friend, if you're over 60 and listening to this, I want to tell you something that most people your age are never told clearly enough. You're not alone, and no, those symptoms you've been brushing off, like feeling tired after lunch, needing to pee more often at night, or your eyes feeling a bit blurry when reading the newspaper, aren't just old age. Sometimes they're your body quietly whispering, "I'm struggling to handle sugar." You see, diabetes doesn't come in with sirens and alarms. It walks in like an old friend you didn't invite. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't scream. But over time, it silently wears down your heart, your kidneys, your eyes, your nerves. And one day you wake up and realize something's been taken from you: your energy, your eyesight, even your independence. Many people after 60 live with type 2 diabetes and don't even know it. According to the CDC, nearly 1 in 4 adults over 65 in the United States has diabetes. And what's even scarier, nearly half of them don't even realize they have it. They just think they are aging. But aging isn't the enemy here. Losing control of your blood sugar is, and the tricky part, after 60 your body changes. You could be eating the same foods you always ate, but now your body reacts differently. The cells become less sensitive to insulin. Your metabolism slows down, you move less, you sleep less, you stress more. And if we're being honest, that little morning habit of a sweet coffee and white toast, it's doing more harm now than it ever did before. Let me share with you a real story. Dr. Eric Berg once talked about a man named Frank, 67 years old, retired, lived in Florida. Frank had lost weight without trying. He was constantly thirsty, waking up at night to pee, and feeling tired most of the day. He feared the worst, maybe cancer, but after a few blood tests, the truth was clear. Frank had type 2 diabetes. His A1C was 9.2. For reference, anything above 6.5 is considered diabetic. Frank was shocked. He thought he was eating fine. His breakfast, a cup of coffee with sweetened condensed milk and a slice of white bread. No big deal, right? But that simple breakfast, repeated every day, was quietly spiking his blood sugar. Combine that with no real physical activity and long afternoon naps, and the damage was building up. Dr. Berg worked with Frank to change small things. No more sweetened coffee. Instead, a couple of boiled eggs, maybe a few sautéed greens if he felt fancy. And most importantly, he started walking 20 minutes every afternoon. Nothing dramatic. No pills, no shakes, no fads, just simple, consistent changes. 3 months later, Frank's A1C dropped to 6.1. He was no longer diabetic. He felt clearer, more energized, and as he joked, he didn't fall asleep during the 6 o'clock news anymore. That's the power of understanding what's happening in your body. Type 2 diabetes after 60 is common, yes, but it's not inevitable, and it's not irreversible. You're not broken, you're just out of rhythm, and rhythm can be restored. With the right foods, the right habits, and a bit of patience, your body can still heal. It doesn't matter if you're 60, 70, or even 80. You don't need to become a health nut. You don't need to fear every grain of rice. But you do need to know this: the earlier you act, the more freedom you'll keep. Your legs, your eyes, your memory, your independence, they are all still yours if you protect them. So let me walk this path with you. We'll talk about food. We'll talk about what to eat, what to avoid, and how to build a way of eating that doesn't feel like punishment. Not to be perfect, but to feel good again, to walk farther, to laugh more, to live fully. We're just getting started. Now that we've opened the door, let's walk a little further in. I know what many of you are wondering. Okay, Doc, I get it. My blood sugar isn't what it used to be. But what do I eat now? What am I allowed to enjoy without feeling guilty or scared it'll spike my sugar? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And here's the truth: it doesn't have to be complicated. I've seen hundreds of patients completely transform their health, not by cutting out everything, but by simply knowing what to bring in. And if you're over 60, your body doesn't need the trendy stuff, the fancy powders, or some magical diet from the internet. What it needs is nourishment, real food that works with your body, not against it. Let's start with something simple. Eggs. Ah, yes, the humble egg. Not long ago, people were told eggs would raise your cholesterol and hurt your heart. Turns out that was a bit of a misunderstanding. What actually causes inflammation and vascular problems is the sugar and processed carbs, not the eggs. Eggs are packed with protein, good fats, and essential nutrients like choline, great for your brain, and they don't raise your blood sugar. In fact, starting your day with 2 boiled eggs instead of cereal or toast, that alone can stabilize your glucose for hours. I've had patients who told me, "Doctor, I don't even need a mid-morning snack anymore. I feel full until lunch." That's what balanced food does. It nourishes, not spikes. Now let's talk tofu. Some people make a face at tofu. They say it's bland, but bland is only in the seasoning. Tofu is like a blank canvas. You give it the flavor. It's one of the best sources of plant-based protein that doesn't come with a blood sugar spike. It's soft, easy to digest, and extremely versatile. Whether you stir-fry it with greens or simmer it with mushrooms, tofu gives your pancreas a break. It's a food that asks nothing of your insulin. Then there's sweet potatoes. Oh yes, sweet potatoes, not the marshmallow-covered kind. I'm talking the naturally sweet, roasted or steamed type. Unlike regular white potatoes, which break down into sugar quickly, sweet potatoes have fiber, lots of it. That fiber slows the sugar from hitting your bloodstream like a wave crashing in. Instead, it comes in like a gentle tide. And that's what your body likes. There's a gentleman I worked with in Seattle, Mr. Harold, age 72. He used to be a meat and potatoes man. After his diagnosis, he swapped white potatoes for sweet potatoes and told me a month later, "Doc, I never thought I'd say this, but I actually look forward to dinner now. And my sugar doesn't shoot up after." That's progress, that's eating smart. Now here's a surprising one: green bananas, not the soft, sugary, ripe kind. I mean bananas that are still firm and just barely turning yellow. They contain something called resistant starch. Sounds fancy, but all it means is your body can't digest it easily, and that's a good thing. It feeds the good bacteria in your gut, helps with insulin sensitivity, and doesn't raise your blood sugar the way a ripe banana does. One of my patients in Texas, a sweet woman named Linda, told me she started boiling green bananas and eating them with a bit of olive oil and salt. Her family laughed at her at first, but 2 months later, her fasting glucose went from 140 to 108. Who's laughing now? And finally, let's not forget the greens, real soft, slippery greens like Malabar spinach or jute leaves. In many cultures, especially in Asia, people have long known the cooling, blood sugar soothing power of these leafy vegetables. You don't need to do much. A little broth, a little garlic, maybe a few slices of tomato, and you've got yourself a bowl of goodness that calms your digestion and keeps your sugar steady. You don't need superfoods from across the world. You need food that's close to home, easy on your budget, and even easier on your body. Let me say this again because I want you to remember it when you stand in your kitchen tomorrow morning. Real food heals. Not fast, not magically, but predictably, gently, and permanently. The kind of healing that doesn't just show up on lab tests, but in your energy, your memory, and how steady your hands feel when you drink your morning tea. It's not about perfection. If you have a celebration and eat something sweet, you're not a failure. You're human. But if your daily life is built on eggs, tofu, sweet potatoes, green bananas, and soft greens, you're building a foundation your future self will thank you for. You can still enjoy food. You can still look forward to meals. You just need to choose food that loves you back. And that, my friend, is the best medicine I've ever prescribed, food that works with your body, not against it. Let me tell you something that surprises many of my patients. It's not just the sweets you know are bad for you that do the most damage. Often it's the everyday foods, the quiet ones, the familiar ones that do the most harm. Especially after 60, when your metabolism isn't quite as forgiving as it used to be. You can't afford to let these little habits slide. So let's talk about 4 common foods that seem innocent but are silently hurting your blood sugar. First on the list, condensed milk. Yes, that thick, creamy, sweet delight that many of us grew up putting in coffee or tea. It tastes like childhood, doesn't it? A little spoonful in the morning, another splash in the afternoon. But here's the reality. Just 2 tablespoons of condensed milk can contain over 20 grams of sugar. That's 5 teaspoons in a tiny serving. When you add that to your morning coffee, you're giving your pancreas a rude awakening before the sun has fully risen. I remember one gentleman, Mr. Chu, a 68-year-old retired carpenter who loved his Vietnamese iced coffee every morning. "It's the only sweet thing I enjoy," he told me. The problem, he didn't realize that single cup had more sugar than a slice of cake. After we switched him to black coffee with a dash of cinnamon and a bit of coconut milk, his post-meal glucose dropped by 35 points within 2 weeks. He still misses the sweet stuff sometimes, but as he said, "At least now I don't fall asleep right after breakfast." Next up, white sandwich bread, the kind that's soft, perfectly square, and lives on most kitchen counters. It seems harmless. It doesn't even taste sweet. But white bread is made from refined flour that breaks down into sugar almost instantly once it hits your mouth. And because it has almost no fiber, there's nothing to slow that sugar down. Your blood sugar goes up, your insulin chases it, and then you crash. That mid-morning fog, that's not just getting old, that's your body begging for stable fuel. I once had a patient, Mary, who swore she couldn't give up her morning toast. I didn't ask her to. Instead, we swapped it for a slice of whole grain sourdough rich in fiber and fermented to be easier on the gut. She kept her toast. Her sugar thanked her. The third sneaky troublemaker, dried fruit. I know what you're thinking, but dark fruit is healthy. Yes, real fruit is, but dried fruit is another beast entirely. When you remove the water from fruit, you concentrate its sugar. A small handful of raisins is like eating a dozen grapes all at once. And don't even get me started on sweetened dried mango. It's like candy with a fruit label. I had a patient named Linda, 70 years old, who kept a jar of dried cranberries on her desk. She'd snack on them during the day and felt proud that she wasn't reaching for cookies. But after 2 months of stable meals and unstable glucose, we looked closer. That healthy snack was spiking her blood sugar all day long. We switched her to a few slices of fresh cucumber and a boiled egg. Not only did her sugar flatten out, but her afternoon energy returned. She even started gardening again. The fourth food might surprise you: noodles. Not just ramen or pasta, but your beloved bowls of white rice noodles, vermicelli glass noodles. These are starch bombs. They don't taste sweet, but your body doesn't care. It treats them like sugar because that's what they become. A big bowl of noodles can be worse than a soft drink when it comes to your glucose response. There was a man in San Jose, 66 years old, who told me, "Doctor, I don't eat sweets, I just eat pH letter 1 EDF. I smiled because pH letter 1 EDF is delicious, but when he told me he had it for breakfast 3 times a week, we checked his numbers. After each bowl, his glucose shot up to 180. We didn't take pH letter 1 EDF away from him. We just shrank the portion, added more greens, and took away the sweetened iced tea he always had with it. That little tweak saved him from needing medication. Now, I'm not telling you to live in fear of food. That's not how we age with dignity. But what I am saying is this: if you've crossed 60, your body deserves better fuel. You deserve foods that don't betray you, that give you energy, not exhaustion. Most people don't develop type 2 diabetes overnight. It happens meal by meal over years with the best intentions. A splash of milk here, a slice of bread there, a little bowl of noodles. But when those meals become habits and those habits become routine, your blood sugar begins to rise quietly. Until it no longer asks for your attention, it demands it. But the good news, just as you built these habits one meal at a time, you can unbuild them the same way, gently, mindfully, without shame. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for the usual pause, ask yourself, is this feeding me or fooling me? Because at your age, you've earned the right to eat food that supports the life you still want to live. Now that we've talked about what to avoid, let's shift the focus to something more uplifting: what you can actually eat and still smile after every meal. Because here's the truth I've told every patient over 60 for the past 3 decades. Eating with diabetes doesn't mean eating without joy. You don't need a celebrity chef. You don't need $20 ingredients or 7-step meal plans. What you need is structure, balance, and just a little love for your own plate. Let me walk you through a day of eating, real eating that can help keep your blood sugar steady, your mind clear, and your heart satisfied. We start in the morning. Breakfast isn't optional after 60. Your metabolism needs gentle activation, not a sugar spike. You're not fueling a marathon, you're waking up your hormones, your brain, and your digestive tract. A good breakfast sets the tone. So here's what I often recommend: 2 boiled eggs, a slice of avocado, and a cup of warm herbal tea. If you're still a coffee lover, good. Just keep it black or with a splash of unsweetened plant-based milk. Add a dash of cinnamon if you like. It helps with insulin sensitivity and tastes like comfort. There's a woman in Oregon, 74 years old, who told me she cried when I asked her to skip her toast. So I didn't. We compromised. She switched to a thin slice of sprouted grain bread, toasted, with a smear of peanut butter and a sprinkle of chia seeds. Not only did she stop feeling hungry, 2 hours later, her mid-morning glucose dropped by 20 points. Sometimes you don't remove joy, you just reshape it. Then comes lunch. The goal with lunch is simple: protein, fiber, and something warm. I love recommending soups or stir-fries, easy on the stomach, full of nutrients. A perfect lunch could be half a plate of sautéed greens, spinach, chard, or even cabbage. Add a palm-sized piece of grilled tofu or fish like salmon or mackerel. Toss in a few slices of cucumber or tomato for freshness and you're set. Sprinkle some sesame seeds or crushed peanuts if you want a crunch. I once had a retired teacher from Dallas who said he hated salad but loved soup. So he made warm salad, a bowl of sautéed vegetables with shredded chicken in a light broth. He ate it 5 days a week and called it Grandpa's noodle-free PH1 EDF. And then, the quiet enemy, snacking. Most people snack because they are bored, not hungry. If you truly need something between meals, make it count. A handful of walnuts, a few slices of cucumber, 1 boiled egg, or even half a green banana with a sprinkle of cinnamon. That's not snacking, that's fuel. Now dinner. Oh, sweet dinner. Dinner after 60 shouldn't be heavy. You don't need a steak. You need calm digestion and solid sleep. I always say your dinner should prepare you for rest, not digestion battles. One of the simplest and best dinners I know: a bowl of pumpkin or sweet potato soup, blended smooth with a drizzle of olive oil. Pair it with steamed tofu or a slice of baked fish and a few pieces of steamed broccoli. Light, warm, easy to digest, and won't send your sugar roller coastering overnight. There was a gentleman, 80 years old, who came to me saying he used to eat fried rice every evening, then wake up 3 times to pee. After we made this switch, same calories, just better timing and ingredients, he slept through the night for the first time in years. Sometimes it's not the medicine, it's the meal. And finally, water. Yes, I know water isn't exciting, but it's essential. As you age, your thirst signal weakens. By the time you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. And mild dehydration can spike your blood sugar, confuse your appetite, and even make you feel dizzy or foggy. Aim for 6-8 cups of water daily. Add lemon slices, mint, or even a cinnamon stick to keep it interesting. Avoid sweetened drinks, even those claiming to be sugar-free. Your body deserves better than chemicals in disguise. Here's what I want you to remember. Eating well at 60, 70, 80 is not about restriction, it's about rhythm. Meals should be regular, balanced, made with love, not fear. And they should leave you feeling clear, not cloudy. You don't need a meal plan downloaded from the internet. You need one built around your real life, your kitchen, your tastes. That's the kind of nutrition that works. So tomorrow morning, when you crack that egg or steam that sweet potato, do it with pride. You're not on a diet. You're reclaiming your health one plate at a time. We've talked about food, and I hope you feel more confident in your kitchen now. But food, while powerful, is just one part of the story. If you want to live fully with diabetes, or better yet, live well beyond it, you need to care for more than just your plate. You need to move, you need to breathe, you need to feel alive again. Let's talk about movement, not exercise, movement. I've had patients hear the word exercise and immediately reach for their back. Doc, I can't run, they say. Good, I don't want you to run, I want you to walk. One of the most powerful things you can do to lower your blood sugar, especially after a meal, is take a simple walk. 15 minutes around your neighborhood, even if it's slow, does more good than any pill you'll ever take. There's research showing that walking after meals helps your body use insulin more efficiently. It reduces the post-meal sugar spike, improves digestion, and clears your head. And let's be honest, it feels good, especially when the air is cool and your joints are warmed up. I once had a couple, both in their 70s, who started what they called their sunset stroll. Every evening after dinner, they'd walk to the corner and back. That was it. Within 6 weeks, both had lower glucose readings, but the real magic, they said they started sleeping better, laughing more, feeling connected. That's medicine too. Now let's talk about sleep. When you sleep poorly, your body becomes inflamed, your hormones get confused, your appetite goes haywire. You crave sugar the next day, not because you're hungry, but because your brain is begging for energy. Aim for 7-8 hours a night. Go to bed at the same time. Make your room quiet, dark, and a little cool. Keep your last meal light and early. Avoid screens and loud news before bed. I always say, let your body land like a plane, not crash like a rock. There's an 81-year-old woman I admire deeply. She used to watch late-night dramas until midnight, then toss and turn for hours. Her sugar was a mess. We worked on a simple routine: warm tea, light reading, and no television after 9. Within a month, she said, "Doctor, I feel like I'm back in my 30s. Not quite, but the sparkle in her eyes said everything. And now, perhaps the most powerful part, your mind. If you believe diabetes is a punishment, it will feel like one. But if you see it as an invitation to change, to return to yourself, to take back control, that's where the healing begins. I've seen too many patients fall into shame. I did this to myself, they whisper. No, you lived, you loved food, you took care of everyone else before yourself, you didn't fail, you simply forgot to listen to your body. But it's speaking again, and you're listening now. Forgive yourself, that's where the journey truly starts. Build a life that isn't about avoiding disease, but about creating health. A life where food is joy, movement is freedom, sleep is peace, and your thoughts are kind. You don't need perfection, you need momentum. Each healthy meal, each walk, each quiet evening is a vote for your future. The more votes you cast, the stronger your health becomes. I had a patient, Mr. Ellis, 75, who told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Doctor, I used to feel like diabetes stole my life, but now I think it saved it. It made me stop. It made me choose." That's what I wish for you, that you choose to live, to smile, to take that next step. You are not your blood sugar number. You are not your lab report. You're a living, breathing story still being written, and the best part, you're holding the pen now, so go ahead. Cook something beautiful, walk under the sky, hug someone you love, forgive the old habits, and know that every day, every moment you can choose health again. I'll be right here cheering you on. You've got this.